Hello and welcome everyone. I'm the Upper Down, aka Tud, and today we're going to be playing some Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. In our last playthrough, we were working on a few different things here. First off, we got Yatulio started on his haste ability. We have Kaif working on Warcry. We have Leticia here working on Heavy Dust. We have Nektu working on Steel Shield. We have Mont Blanc working on Haste as well. Tud, almost complete with Air Blast and Strike Back. We have Linny currently working on 3 different abilities. Lance, Last Haste, which will give him the ability to immediately speed up after taking critical damage, and Shield Bearer, so he can increase his defense with a shield. Eldina is also working on some abilities here. We just finished up working on Thunder and Sleep. She has access to Double Cast, and we are now starting Fire. Alright, let's take a look at the missions log here. Alright, we do not currently have any missions available to us. And it would appear that both of our territories are not in contention at the moment. Let's go ahead and hop into the pub and see what missions we have access to. Alright, we have a couple of new missions here that we can take. Fashion World unfortunately requires 2 items I do not possess, so we will not be able to do that one at the moment. The Witness requires a defender, and you must defeat 5 enemies in order to complete this mission. I do not currently have a defender, so we will not be able to do that at the moment. Math is Hard is simply a journey around the map. I've been at this equation for months now. Never have I been so stumped in my life. Won't someone take a crack at this with me? Cosine, mathematician. Alright, let's go ahead and get someone dispatched on this mission here. Not too urgent that we get Yatulio his ability. Kaif also isn't of any major concern. We could send Leticia out on this. That would allow her to complete the ability she's working on. Nektu has a little ways to go. And so do Linny and Eldina. So yes, let's go ahead and send Leticia out on this mission. Alright. We don't have the ingredients for refurbishing Spirited Boy. I believe we may? No, looks like we do not. Come on Out requires Jerky we do not possess. Swords and Cyril, we do have access to that mission. Amelia is our fencer. She's currently working on Pierce Through and Shield Bearer. So this should be the mission that allows her to complete the ability she's working on. Let's take a look at Caravan Guard here. This would require Eldina's Cup in order to accept. Now, do keep in mind, if you do decide to accept this mission in your own playthrough, it does use Eldina's Cup. You will not get that item back, and that item allows you to get a secret character. So be sure that you have said secret character before accepting this mission, otherwise that character will no longer be obtainable. Wanted, Caravan Guards. We are traveling merchants who sell our goods from town to town. We expect bandits in the pass ahead. Sirocco, Caravan Leader. Alright, let's go ahead and send a member of our party out here. I'm going to go ahead and send Nektsu. I want to try to get him done quickly, and I know that this mission will offer quite a lot of XP. Or AP, I should say. We have Ivalice Sands here. This is a territory battle, you can tell by the icon in the top left-hand corner. This will require us to defeat 3 enemies to complete. I'm trying to reforest the Ivalice Sands in an attempt to tame the beasts that live there. Bring me a desert plant for study. Kareen, herbologist. Alright, who can we afford to send out on this mission? I would say Linny is our best bet. We won't particularly need him. Alright, let's go ahead and complete some of our send-away missions here. Gonna let some time pass. It's unfortunate that there isn't simply a wait button to just sit in place and allow time to pass around you. That would be quite beneficial, especially when you're trying to complete these longer missions. Math is hard. Leticia here. Math is hard was too easy. She's gained 50 ability points, which will be enough for her to complete the ability she is working on, Heavy Dust. We've also gained a skill level up here. Let's take a look at the abilities she has to work with. Fire Whip, Earth Heal, Heavy Dust, and Slip Rain. Alright, what else could we potentially work with here? We have Heavy Dust, Earth Heal, Fire Whip, White Flame. Unfortunately, we do not have the weapon available to use that. I believe she has Slip Rain also. Alright, let's go ahead and swap over now to the Summoner. One of my favorite that the bunny girl has access to. I don't think there's any armor available to her at the moment that will give any special abilities or anything like that. I do have access to a rubber suit, which would nullify any lightning damage, so we'll go ahead and use that. Let's go ahead and pick up the guard staff here. We can learn Ifrit for some fire damage. She still has shield bearer on, so we can equip a shield here if we wanted to. And considering her melee attack isn't the primary goal, we'll keep that shield on for extra defense. We're going to keep our red magic here as our secondary, just in case we need a cure or some poison. Alright, let's go ahead and get into a battle here and try this out. Let's take a look at our laws here. We cannot use poison or control magic, that's fine. We have Gillis the archer, Dean the soldier, Camus the animist. I believe he's an animist, let me double check that. Yes, he is. We have Spangler the warrior and Daryl the fencer. Alright, let's go ahead and set up our team here. I want to try to keep Leticia in the back. She is very susceptible to melee damage. Mont Blanc, I believe we have him in a caster role. Let's put him in the back row. Tud, we're going to go ahead and put on the front lines here. Alright. We'll be able to get some experience on Eldina here and work on some of her abilities. Alright, so let's find the best spot here to attack. I could move forward here and throw some magic on those two, or I could move over to the other side and throw some magic on those two. Now, I'm thinking the best strategy here would be to move over to this side. The warrior tends to be a damage sponge, and the enemy in the back has reflex. The chance to hit is quite low, though, only a 50% chance. Let's instead move over to the other side and see what our odds look like over here. Now, this spell does have a large radius of attack. It will attack, I believe it is in a 6-tile radius. So if you place it down right here, it will strike 2 tiles over in each direction. I believe that's how that spell is designed. Alright, we have a 75% chance on the archer and a 48% chance on the soldier. Let's go ahead and give this a try and check out the animation. We hit the soldier, but not the archer. Not what I was expecting. I'm going to go ahead and use haste here on Utulio. Alright, now that we have Utulio set up, let's go ahead and have him morph into a snake. And I'll have him move over to the other side so we can start corralling the enemies over there. And morphing, apparently, is worthy of a judge point. That must be counter to one of the laws that's currently enacted for this combat. Alright, it looks like the fencer's going to go ahead and strike my time mage here. And she missed. The archer Gillis, he's going to go ahead and move forward here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and launch an attack at my Templar. He's going to try to immobilize me. 60% chance to hit. And he succeeded. Luckily, the Templar is not of major concern for this battle, so no real impact from that immobilization there. Let's go ahead and use some of our abilities here. I want to try and find a good position to strike with Air Blast. Unfortunately, this is the only way that won't also hit Utulio, but it reduces my chance to hit to 40%. I don't really like those odds. I am instead going to go ahead and use Air Render to strike the warrior here. 88% chance to hit. This will reduce his health by half. Alright, Camus is going to go ahead and move forward here. Oh, looks like he chose to go after my Time Mage Utulio instead. High chance to hit. Looks like it's going to damage his mana points. He lost 13 mana due to that attack, due to his reaction ability, damage mana points. Alright, we, with Mont Blanc, have access to some stunt abilities we can use to disable our enemies, or haste. I'm going to go ahead and use haste here on our summoner, so she can use some more fire magic. Unfortunately, her turn did not come before Dean, so Dean did move out of the way. He's going to go ahead and strike my summoner here. Ooh, 9% chance to miss, and he missed. Alright, let's go ahead and move over with our summoner here. And we are going to go ahead and double cast some magic. We have a 50% chance to hit on the warrior and an 85% chance to hit the fencer. So let's go ahead and double cast. We successfully hit the warrior and the fencer with our first attack. Now let's see how fire does. We missed the warrior with the fire, but we did hit the fencer. Spangler, the warrior's now going to go ahead and move off to heal, which is fine. He's only going to be able to heal for about 12 health, give or take. Alright, let's go ahead and move back here. I'm going to go ahead and use Tulio's ability, Poison Frog, on Camus the Animist. 70% chance we will turn him into a frog. And we succeeded. He is now limited to only melee attacks. Unfortunately, I caused poison damage. That is forbidden in the laws. Kaif does not have the ability to move, however he can use the ability Jump, which could be just enough to take out the warrior or the fencer. Let's go ahead and remove the fencer from the equation. 37 damage done there. We have Gillis here with 81 health and Dean here with 37. Unfortunately, everyone is too far spaced out for this to be truly effective. Let's go ahead and use some ice magic here. .28 damage, that puts the soldier at critical health. I won't be using any more poison spells for obvious reasons. Let's go ahead and use Hand Slap. That should be enough to take out the soldier. Unfortunately, we missed. Six damage the archer is looking to do to my Templar, and he succeeded. Alright, let's go ahead here and summon Ifrit. There isn't necessarily a good place to cast this spell, given the distance between the enemies. Instead, let's use another Blizzard spell. Hopefully we will be able to strike the soldier this time. 29 damage, that'll take him out. Alright, Tud should be able to use Air Render here to take out the warrior. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, all we have left is the frog and archer. Still nothing Kaif can do, other than jump, so we'll go ahead and do that. 59 damage here. Ten damage from poison. He is down to 10 health. And he's going to go ahead and attack Mont Blanc here. Counter triggers. He takes 37 damage, and that's the end of him. One enemy remaining. Unfortunately, the judge is in my way here. I'd like to be standing where he is at the moment. And I cannot reach the enemy with any magic. Let's go ahead and use haste on myself. Will we be too far away again? No, we will actually be able to strike this time. Let's go ahead and use fire, and then right after that I will use sleep. Hopefully we will succeed in both. We successfully hit with fire damage for 23. Now casting sleep, and we missed. Alright, let's go ahead and move forward with Leticia here. She is too far away to do anything, so we'll wait here for now. Same thing with Utulio, simply too far away. So let's move forward here, and we will wait once again. Gillis the archer, he's going to go ahead and back up and take a shot at Mont Blanc here. 7 damage. And he missed. Just out of curiosity, if I were to attempt a melee attack, we'd be looking at 19 damage. Let's go ahead and use dagger here to attempt to disable the enemy. 25 damage. Mont Blanc has leveled up and gained a judge point for successfully disabling the enemy. Kaif can now move once again. Let's go ahead and use Ice Breath here. 52 damage, 50% chance to hit. Alright. And that brings to a close the battle. Let's see what sort of rewards we've obtained. But first, Utulio will not receive an award. We will not gain any currency from that battle as a result of the yellow card infraction. We did obtain a mithril knife, and we do get the 50 ability points. Tud, as a result, has mastered Strike Back and Air Blast. And 2 missions have been completed as a result. Swords and Cyril. Amelia here. Swords and Cyril was over too quick. 50 ability points. And she has mastered Pierce Through and Shield Bearer, as well as gained a skill point here. 2, actually. Elut Sands. Linny Kupo. Elut Sands finished Kupo. 50 ability points. And we now have Elut Sands as part of our territory. Let's go ahead and take a look at the items equipped to our characters. Tud is now good. He has Strike Back, Air Blast, and Air Render. Well, let's go ahead and give him something else to work on. Backdraft would deal damage as fire, but it would also damage the user. Rush is nice. It is a knockback ability. Very good to use if you are on a ledge looking to push an enemy over. Don't think I have access to anything else at the moment. No, I do not. We do have access to a new weapon here that we could give to the Elementalist, as well as a new soul to use for our Morpher. Let's go ahead and give Tud the Rush ability. It is a slightly weaker weapon than the weapon we had previously, so our melee damage will be slightly less, as well as a decrease in our damage from abilities, because the fighter abilities do rely on the weapon equipped for the damage that they deal. Nektu is still away on a mission. Let's go ahead and proceed into our next battle here. Alright, it looks like this team does have a healer on board. Let's see what laws we have to work with. No control or ice. I will have to keep that in mind. We have Jorg, the warrior. Ivalice, the fighter. Elmon, the white monk. Liam, the white mage. And Lezaford, the soldier. Alright, no need to be concerned in this combat about use of Morpher abilities, such as poison, because they are actually beneficial. They are the opposite of what the law would prohibit. We have our 6-man team set up here, half of which have the ability to use haste. Let's go ahead and have Kaif use haste on Iatulio, get him started. Now, we could do a couple of things. I could move her over here and drop some magic just behind the white monk, which would hit both the healer and the white monk. Or I could move over here and drop magic on the fighter and warrior. Both the white monk and the white mage have access to healing abilities. So I think my best course of action here would be to move over here and drop some magic on the fighter and warrior. If I drop it here, it will hit me also, but if I drop it here, it only hits one or the other. So we'll drop it next to the fighter, so we get both. 50% chance, roughly, on both of them. Let's see what happens. Ice magic is prohibited, so if this successfully lands on either enemy, I will gain a judge point for using the counter. Iatulio, let's go ahead and use our morph ability to turn into a snake. And we're going to go ahead and move over behind the warrior. I intend to turn him into a frog this time around. The white monk is going to go ahead and move here and attack Tud, which, depending on what ability he uses, will be very bad for him. He has triggered Strike Back with a melee attack, and taken 41 damage as a result. Liam is going to go ahead and move forward here. I don't know that there's really anything he can do at the moment, so he's just simply going to end his turn. Let's go ahead and remove the white monk from the equation with an Air Render. 55 damage this would deal with an 85% chance to hit. Successful. We have removed the white monk from the equation. Alright, Mont Blanc now gets a turn. What do we want him to do? I don't like the odds of this attack landing, but we'll do it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and throw a dagger at the fighter here. 53% chance. 26 damage it would deal. That would put the fighter at critical health, if successful. And we succeeded for 26 damage. The soldier is going to go ahead and move forward here and attack my red mage, Eldina, for MP damage. That is actually worse for this character than regular health damage. She will now not be able to cast as many spells this time around. Let's go ahead and deal some damage here. She should have enough to cast 2 damage spells here. 27 damage with an 88% chance to hit. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Lightning did 27, and Fire did 29. Neither one of those spells was against the law. Elias, with his 3 remaining health, will move forward here and attempt to attack Mont Blanc. He will trigger Counter. Counter succeeded and took the fighter out of the battle. 3 enemies remain. We have the warrior, the soldier, and the healer. I believe the healer does have access to a revival spell, so we will have to keep that in mind. Itolio's damage mana points will activate here, and he will take 27 magic damage. Let's go ahead and turn this warrior into a frog. We have a 60% chance to succeed. Unfortunately, I can't get behind him for a higher chance. And we missed. Go ahead and use jump here on their healer. This will deal, if successful, 40-ish damage. 44. That puts the healer at critical health. He will now use a heal spell on himself if I do not take him out before that. I'm going to try to place my Ifrit as close as possible. 60% chance to hit. This would remove him from the battle. It is worth wasting the 24 mana for that. And we were successful. Let's go ahead and try once more here for another poison frog. 60% chance once again. And we were successful this time. So 1 enemy left to worry about. That is the soldier. And we will go ahead and remove them from the battle right now with Air Render. 49 damage, 88% chance to hit. Alright, nothing to be concerned about with the warrior. He has been reduced to only 1 damage in melee, and he is poisoned as well. Let's go ahead and use our dagger ability here to deal some damage. We missed. And all my other characters can do for the moment is simply move forward. Unfortunately, Kaif does not yet have access to his haste ability. We'll go ahead and use Cheer here, just in case. That will increase our weapon attack for next turn. 10 damage due to poison. The frog will go ahead and move forward and attack Mont Blanc here, which will trigger counter. Unfortunately, the counter did miss. Not enough mana to use Ifrit again, so let's go ahead and drop some Thunder. That will deal 42 damage, 88% chance to hit. Nope, not quite close enough. Let's go ahead and move next to the frog here, and we'll use some more snake abilities. Let's go ahead and hit him with Hand Slap. Very high damage, very high chance to hit. 73 damage there. That went well. Let's keep up the good work. Got 50 ability points there. Aldina has mastered Fire. Let's see what else she has access to. We have Barrier, Fire, Thunder, and Sleep for the moment. We could get started on Cure. We could purchase Blizzard or start Poison. I don't believe there's anything else recent that we've acquired. Ah, there is. But not that possesses any abilities for the Red Mage. Let's go ahead and pick up Cure here. You never know when you might need some healing magic, especially on a character that can use double cast. I want to try to learn all the abilities I can with Aldina before changing jobs, as this is a special class. Once she changes jobs, she will lose access to the special class until you re-unlock it by learning abilities from other job trees. So we want to make the most of it while we have her in this role. Let's go ahead and move around the map a little bit more to finish our journey. We have 2 days left on our mission. Let's go ahead and move down to Cyril here. Caravan Guard. Nektu here. Caravan Guard cleared. 70 ability points. We've gained the Caravan Musk, the Blood Sword, and a couple of cards here. We also have Cure All ×5, which we got from hitting the threshold on one of our skills. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nektu's ability here. He is at 160 out of 200 on Steel Shield. Once he finishes that, we will switch him over to Fighter and get him started on Strike Back. Let's go ahead and stop into the card shop here. I want to make the trades, see what we have access to in the shop. Ah, Tud. Looks like you're in need of my help. These are all the cards I have right now. Any you want? So let's find out. Well, let's go ahead and pick up Poison here. That is a rate 2 card, so we will trade Fight for that. That is a 1-for-1. That looks like a trade to me. How about it? Sure. Alright. Hope you get the most out of your cards. What else could we possibly pick up here? I don't have access to Slow. I don't have any characters that use broadswords. Berserk and Confuse are hit or miss. Don't have anyone using Prayer or Charm, really. So I think we are good with what we have. I recommend checking back every month or so if you're looking for particular cards. They do reset. Let's see. Let's take a look at our law cards. We have 18 out of 20. So once you hit 20, you will have to remove cards from your deck here if you want to pick anything else up. Let's go ahead and journey down to this combat here. I want to try to get Nexu completed on his ability before we do anything drastic. Alright, let's take a look at the laws here. No use of broadswords or prayer, neither of which will cause us any trouble. We have Monid, the warrior, Delphine, the fencer, Hodges, the archer, Malchado, the animist, and Wilder, the soldier. We'll go ahead and put Yatulio here. Kaif will go on the front lines with Mont Blanc. Leticia, we're going to put behind Yatulio. I want to try to get her magic out on them as quick as possible. Go ahead and put in Nektu and Tud here. Now, I could sub in Linny or Eldina here. I don't believe we really have much to work on with Linny. I mean, he does have abilities he's working on, but he's not a particularly strong character in this party. Alright, we will go ahead and continue with who we have on the field. Alright, well, let's go ahead and move forward with Leticia here. We're going to go ahead and drop some fire magic here. That'll hit both enemies. Chance to hit the fencer is only 40%, but with any luck we will succeed. Alright, 31 and 33 respectively. Fencer's going to go ahead and move forward and attempt to strike our summoner. Looks like she's going to use Swarm Strike. High chance to hit. And she successfully applied poison. Alright, let's go ahead and use our Templar Kaif here to use haste on Yatulio. Get him started. It's always good if you are using a Morpher to use haste on him as soon as possible. It does consume a turn to transform, and then consume another turn to use an action, as you've seen thus far. So you want to try to get them set up as quickly as possible. So we have successfully hit both enemies here. I want to try to spread out a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and move over here behind Leticia. Let's go ahead and move up top here with Nektu. If we were able to successfully knock the enemy back, that would deal additional fall damage. Tud's turn is coming up soon. Unfortunately, he cannot get close enough to use knockback next turn. So let's go ahead and use Nektu here. 50 damage, 74% chance to hit. And we succeeded. That should put the soldier almost at critical health. He is down to 24. Their archer, being out of range, is going to go ahead and move forward here and end his turn. Let's go ahead and use Tud to take out the soldier. I'm going to use an air render. 53 damage, 74% chance to hit. Alright, down to 4 enemies here. Let's go ahead and move forward with Mont Blanc. I want to try and set Tud up for his next turn. Their Animus is going to go ahead and move forward and attack Mont Blanc here. This will trigger a counterattack. 19 damage. Slightly stronger than their Animus was able to deal with his wand. Self-damaging attack, Body Slam. He successfully hit for 42 and dealt 10 damage to himself. He unfortunately did move away. I think his intentions are to heal himself next turn. Well, let's go ahead and turn their Fencer into a frog. 70% chance to do so. And we have succeeded. Let's go ahead and move forward with Kaif here. We have a couple of different options. We could use a regular melee attack that would do 34 damage. We also have access to Jump, another 34, or Ice Breath, which would do 44. We do not have enough for Haste, so let's go ahead and do Ice Breath here. Get a little bit more damage on the board. If we succeed, this will put him at critical health. Alright, let's go ahead and take out their Animist. I'm going to try to get as far away from him and as close to the enemies as possible to set up for next turn. Air Render here would do 55 damage on their Animist, if successful. We succeeded. That leaves us with 2 enemies to be concerned with, the Warrior and the Archer. The Fencer is essentially disabled for the rest of the combat. Let's go ahead and move forward here with our Summoner. I don't think I have quite enough range to hit the Archer. No, I do not. If I could move 1 tile further, perhaps. Alright, instead, let's go ahead and use some red magic. If we were to cast Thunder on ourselves, it would do 0 damage due to the chest piece we have equipped. So let's go ahead and do it. See what happens. 0. Alright, so let's go ahead and end our turn here. The Fencer will go ahead and get her turn. She's going to go ahead and move towards Utulio, and oh, she instead chose to move towards our Summoner and deal 1 damage. Their Archer's going to go ahead and move forward here and attempt to strike our Summoner. She has block arrows equipped though, and will dodge it. Utulio's speed has ended. Do we have access to any form of ranged attack? Yes, we could use Twister here. It would do half of the enemy's health in damage. Unfortunately, I think that is the only damaging spell we have that can be used at range. I could use Night here, puts all enemies to sleep, but it also could potentially hit my allies. We definitely don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and unmorph. And we're going to go ahead and use Utulio's Time Magic to speed up Leticia. Let's go ahead and move forward with Nexu here. Not much he can do, so we'll simply end the turn. Let's go ahead and set up here for a an air render attack. Actually, I think it would be more fun to use Rush here. It's not going to do as much damage, but we'll get to see the knockback in effect. 42 damage, if successful. 43 damage from the attack, and 8 from the fall damage. Unfortunately, I think Mont Blanc is too far away. Oh, just close enough. 31 damage at a 50% chance to hit. Alright. Only enemy remaining now is the Fencer, who is stuck in frog shape. "12 damage Leticia just took from the poison effect. Let's go ahead and drop some fire magic. We have a 70% chance to eliminate the Fencer from the battle. And we were successful. Alright. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rewards from this battle. That went well. Let's keep up the good work. We got 50 ability points. Tud has mastered Rush. Nexu has mastered Steel Shield. Let's go ahead and swap out some items here. I could pick up Backdraft, but I know I probably will never use it. Let's go ahead and change over to Paladin here. We can start working on some abilities for the Paladin class. We have access to Diamond Armor for the weapon defense increase. We have Nurse, which is a healing ability that can be used in a cross shape around the healer. We have Defense. We have the Knight combo. We have Subdue. And I believe that is all we have access to at the moment for this job class. Go ahead and pick up Nurse, just in case. The Opal Shield here. Now, we have one space extra open since we do not have a helmet equipped. Let's go ahead and put on the Thief Armlets again. Now, instead of Shield Bearer, I could use Weapon Defense, but we will keep Shield Bearer on because the Opal Shield is rather powerful. Next, we're going to go ahead and switch over to a fighter, so we can equip the armor that gives strike back. Headband here for the extra weapon damage. Weiger for strike back. Let's get Air Blast started. And our dash boots. Alright. Let's go ahead and go into the prison here. We need to get a pardon for Utulio. That will be 1,000 gold, and he will have to sit out for one battle. Let's go ahead and accept that. Alright, so that will be it for today's episode. In the next one, we will perform one more battle, so that way we can get Utulio released from prison, and then we will proceed with learning as many abilities as we can before we go into the next boss fight. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe. It helps my channel out a lot. Or if you're watching from Twitch, please feel free to toss me a follow and keep an eye out for more. I stream 5 days a week, usually between 8:30 and 9:30 EST. If you miss me on one day, check in the next. I do, as I said, stream 5 days a week. All right, until next time.